What's up, crabs? Well, honestly, you may not believe the title, but the invention of the wheel shaped the battle cats we know today. And it not only shaped it, it defined pretty much every stage in the game, even the ones you'd least expect it. And yeah, the invention of the wheel, in addition to revolutionizing cats in general, it revolutionized the battle cats. Nothing else in the world, just the battle cats. So today, we are just going to be just showing how the invention of the wheel just set the stage for the creation of the battle cats, the game that took the world by storm. So, let's get into it. First of all, we have the origins of the wheel. So, we have to just talk about the origins of the wheel. It actually started as a pottery tool, just a humble pottery tool, and little did the humans know, they were inventing just something huge, something that would revolutionize the world. It was really just used as a pottery wheel or a device, and then people realized that it actually worked for other things. It was invented in 3500 BC in Mesopotamia, but in around 3200, it began to diffuse from that region into early carts and wagons after people realized it could be incredibly versatile at creating an incredibly effective and smooth transportation experience. And now this obviously led to huge spreads of cultures, and humans realized they could move things faster, they can move goods, they can move services, they can move everything faster. The world was just becoming a faster, more interconnected place, and this is honestly the start of the battle cats, because without communication, battle cats would have never created. So, that is honestly the very early history, and honestly, yeah, it just continued progressing and progressing, influencing everything that we know to this day. The Romans really took it by storm, and the ancient Egyptians, implementing it on pretty much every transportation device, and with the help of the humble wheel, they conquered pretty much the entire world, especially the Romans, using chariots, and just, they were able to move so effectively without pesky horses. They were able to just spread out so quickly using wheels and the devices attached to wheels. So, yeah, the Roman Empire just dominated with the help of the wheel, and it just started a giant chain reaction of just more and more just details about the wheel. And honestly, it's just incredible. The wheel sort of just revolutionized everything. So, back to the Romans. They just began taking it by storm, invading everything, and eventually, obviously, the Roman Empire fell. But you know what didn't fall? Wheels, because it spread, by this point, across civilizations to Europe, Asia, and Africa, and people began to use spoked wheels, which were lighter, faster, and allowed earlier armies to move quickly. So, like I said, civilizations like the Egyptians and even the Greeks adopted wheels for warfare, and then it just enabled agriculture and trade expansion, which laid groundwork for mechanical innovations. Like the wheel, without the wheel, pulleys would not have existed. Gears would not have existed, which would have been insane. And honestly, the wheel is humanity's most important innovations. Now, you may be questioning how this relates to the battle cats, but we will be getting there. So please just hold on tight, and absolutely tight. Now, the wheel was reinvented several times to match just the wrapping change. Of course, it was first made out of clay back in the ancient times, and then wood was the practical material. Eventually, they began adopting the form factor of the wheel to solid wooden disc reinforced with metal bands, which allowed armies to just have more durable wheels, because people realized if you shut out the wheels, you pretty much immobilize the vehicle, but if you made the wheels stronger, it's a lot harder to do it. So people put bronze and iron for the rims and for durabilities, and people began experimenting with it, with like rotation, leverage, torch. They just began experiencing with everything. And by this point, you may think the wheel and axle combo existed, and it did, in none other than Poland. And Poland is absolutely essential for this, because Battle Cats was invented pretty close to Poland, if you didn't know that. And wheels had a huge influence on mythology and culture. You know, the Egyptians believed that wheels existed and that gods were carried in chariots. And you know what Egyptians also believed in? Cats. They loved cats. So that obviously already really closely relates. So once they introduced spoked wheels, we began just advancing more and more, creating lighter and lighter wheels until we figure out a rubber. Now this was very close, and honestly, in around 500 AD, we figured out rubber, and eventually this was applied to the wheel. And the wheel just took off and took off. And the wheel inspired other transportation mediums. Without the wheel, planes wouldn't have existed, because the first plane actually did have wheels. And this is huge, because planes are how ideas traveled. And without planes, the internet wouldn't have been invented. And when the internet was invented, because of the invention of the wheel, it eventually led a small team of game developers to talk about cats that fight, because cats love fighting. So that began the Battle Cats journey, all because of the wheel. But it doesn't end here, folks. Yeah, the wheel still has a massive influence. They begin communicating, and obviously, they desperately want to thank the thing that just invented everything for them, because the wheel obviously invented absolutely everything for the Battle Cats, and they would not have the success they have today without the wheel. So how do they implement it? They make him into a unit. That's right, Wheel Cat. Wheel Cat is honestly the foundation of everything good in the Battle Cats. They worship the Wheel Cat. Now obviously it is one of the best units in the game, without a doubt. Like, look at that stat. He does damage to alien enemies. That seems pretty fitting, that he defeats a pretty hard trait, because he's a wheel, and wheels are absolutely awesome. And spoked wheels created speed, but people also realized they sort of deal damage, like Wheel Cat, and they realized you can travel on them. So, pretty similar to the Iron Legions. Are you seeing where I'm getting about this? The wheels sort of just diffused everything. They caused the spread of ideas, the spread of information, and the spread of, most importantly, cats, and how cute they are. Thanks, Egyptians. And this just led to just so much innovation, but most importantly of all, the Battle Cats, and obviously influenced the Battle Cats we shape today, because the Ubers wouldn't exist without the wheel. You know the thing on Dark Castly's head? It's a wheel. Yeah, it's a wheel. Dark Castly's headband is a wheel. Everything is a wheel when you think about it. Bartlog's staff, it's a wheel. Courier Cat, he has a wheel on that catapult for sure. Courier Cat wouldn't exist. Awakened Bahamut Cat, he's a wheel. Everything is a wheel. There's everything's a wheel or a wagon or a disc. So honestly, the wheel has influenced everything. And Isaac Newton, he liked physics, and physics wouldn't exist without wheels. So we wouldn't have Newton and the Battle Cats without wheels. So worship wheels in conclusion, because wheels are awesome. So yeah, wheels are pretty awesome. They introduced humans to mechanics, and there are so many Ubers that wouldn't exist without wheels. In fact, even the basic cat wouldn't exist without wheels, because we transport cats in cars to vets. And cats would be a lot less successful in the environment without wheels. Just saying. So it absolutely transformed technology, and in turn, it transformed the Battle Cats. Socrates, all because of wheel. Dabu of the Dead, all because of the wheel. He couldn't read that book without a wheel. His legs are actually wheels. Oh, and don't get me started on King Wawa. He's just riding a chariot of wheels. Are you seeing where I'm getting with this? Hopefully you'll see that wheels are everything, and you should subscribe to me. So I hope you enjoyed this long-winded rant, and hope you understand this. So what are your opinions on this? Subscribe, because I'm awesome. Bye.